Hi everyone, welcome to the Small Space Garden series. I am so excited about this series, and I've been feeling a lot of energy from you in the comments of the preview video about this series as well. Now, I've been hearing that a lot of you have struggled with growing your own veggies in a small space. Maybe you've even given up. Well, you're in the right place because this series is about growing a lot of food in a little bit of space. We're going to do it in a quick, simple, inexpensive way, and it's going to be a ton of fun. Now, this first video covers planning your space, choosing the right container, the right soil, and what type of veggies to grow. First, what we're going to do is explain what I'm doing here. I've taped off a 7x11 area of my deck, and we're going to plant a garden in this space, and we're going to do it together. So let's get started. Now, we're going to maximize this space the best that we can, and also make a nice, relaxing space that we can hang out in as well. So we're going to use the railings, we're going to use the square footage, we're going to grow horizontally and vertically. There'll be lots of fun tips and tricks along the way. Now, we're partnering up with Smart Pots for this series, and we're going to be doing several giveaways. The first one is for 5 of these 5-gallon Smart Pots containers and a 2-pound bag of Vermistera worm castings. And the cool part is, look at this, guys. I'm super excited about this. Smart Pots has embroidered my logo on the container. So here's how you enter. After you're done watching the video, make a comment about something you learned and you're entered in the drawing. Now, the drawing is open to US residents only, and we'll be picking 5 winners on Monday, April 9th in our live stream at noon Pacific time. So make sure you enter and good luck. Now, the first step to getting started is to measure out the space that you have. So I'm going to get all this furniture out of the way. We're going to measure the space and then draw it out. Well, the first thing we need to know is how much space we have. I mean, raise your hand if you've gone to the garden center and bought everything in sight without even knowing how much garden space you have. Guilty as charged. I've done that a lot of times. So the first reason why you need to know how much space you have is so you don't overbuy supplies. The second reason you need to know how much space you're working with is so you don't overcrowd. And your plants look small when you plant them, but they're going to grow, and you need room to walk between the containers, to tend to your plants, to water them, and you definitely don't want to overcrowd your space. The third reason why we need to know exactly how much space we have is because if it gets overcrowded and you can't even reach your plants or walk through it or work in it, you're not going to enjoy it. So by knowing exactly the space we have allows us to plan our garden space in a way that we can enjoy it. And you know, that's where the magic happens. Here we go. Got about 11 feet here. And about 7 feet here. So we've got about 77 square feet. So we're going to draw a rough sketch on paper. Now, we're not going to be an architect for this, but we just want to get an idea of how we're going to lay the space out. So I'm just drawing this out on graph paper here. Again, it doesn't have to be super fancy, but graph paper will help me measure out the space. And when I get to choosing my containers, I'll lay it out here on my graph. Now, don't worry about being too fancy here. I mean, we're not architects. It's just a visual to help us plan our space. Well, the next step in the planning process is to choose our containers that we're going to draw in here. When you're growing your small space garden, choosing a container is the biggest investment and probably one of the most important decisions you can make. There's so many different containers to choose from. I've grown in 5-gallon buckets before. We've all grown in the containers that you buy at the garden center. And how about the grocery store cloth fabric bags? Now, once I started growing in Smart Pots, I was hooked. I tested them out before I even made my first Smart Pots video. Now, one reason I love them so much is because the fabric is so durable, it's breathable, the water drains right out of it so your plants don't get waterlogged, and the roots air prune, which is absolutely amazing. Now, when you're growing in a plastic container, the roots tend to get wrapped around and root bound, and the plant is not able to take up water and nutrients. But in the smart pots, that doesn't happen because the roots air prune, they branch and grow laterally and form a nice fibrous root mass, which is still able to take up water and nutrients. And that's one reason you can grow so much veggies in such a small space in a smart pots. So I'm super excited that we're partnering with smart pots for this series. So one reason why I've chosen smart pots to grow here on my balcony is because you can grow so much food in these containers. They are like growing machines. Not only that, they come in all sorts of sizes, shapes, and even different colors to fit your growing space. Now what I'm going to do is draw out my Smart Pots containers here in my garden space. So what you need to do is head over to smartpots.com and check out all the sizes they have and see which ones you want to choose to fit your garden space. And I'll put a link in the video description of the specific Smart Pots that I'm using here on my deck. So here's what I got. Now be honest, are you surprised at all the white space in here? Well, remember, we don't want to overcrowd our space because I want to leave room to relax and leave room to work in between the plants and room to enjoy. We've got a couple of 20-gallon smart pots that are 18 inches in diameter. We've got a long 6-foot raised bed. We've got my red table here, which is where I'm going to sit and have my coffee and my tea. I'm going to stack up some smart pots to grow vertically. We're going to build a tower out of crates. And I'm also going to use the deck rail space by utilizing some wall saddle planters. So we're growing horizontally, we're growing vertically, we're going to put some trellises in, and we're going to maximize the space that we have and grow a lot of veggies here. Well, we got to get busy. We got a lot of work to do. Next, I'm going to lay out the containers here on the space and fill them with soil. I'm so excited. We're finally laying out the garden here. It's going to be so much fun. Ooh, I wonder who's going to win one of these. So I'm just looking at my drawing here and I see in the corner I've got 2 of the 20-gallon containers. Now these are a lot of fun because they've got handles. So they're portable and you can move them around if you need to. So I'm going to put 2 of them right there in the corner. Now this is going to be fun because we're going to put some trellises here in the corner and grow some peas, some things that'll grow up into the space and look really, really beautiful. So I'm super excited about that. Now I love these wall saddle planters. These are so much fun because they drape right over a deck rail. So I'm going to put one right here in the corner. Gotta move my little onions out of the way. And that's going to look so pretty with something spilling over the edge, maybe some lettuce in that one. This is getting exciting. Now, this is one of the Smart Pots containers that I absolutely love. I mean, look at this. Look at this thing. It's 6 feet long and it's a rectangle, so you really maximize your growing space. Can you guys tell I'm really getting excited about this? This is so much fun. There's lots and lots of growing space in here. I think it's 6 feet long by about 13 inches wide. So we're gonna be able to grow a lot of yummy vegetables in here. Now this is one of my favorite ones. It's a purple little mini raised bed. This is such a fun color. I mean, you guys know how much I love colors. Now right here, we're gonna build a beautiful little tower. You might have seen my flower tower in another area of my garden. Well, that's what we're gonna make right here. So we're gonna stack up 3 Smart Pots right here, including my fun little Calicum Garden and Home Smart Pots, and then a smaller little one to top off right there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to grow here on the rails. So there's another spot we're going to put our wall saddle planters. We're going to add 3 of those right here on the rail. Look at these nice little pockets. They're going to grow all kinds of fun stuff in it. So we're growing vertically right here, and oh, I forgot. We're also going to put a trellis in our 6-foot raised bed and grow vertically right here, so we'll really be able to maximize that space. A couple more wall saddles, and Mac's having a good time too. As long as he doesn't get into my veggies. Some wall saddles here, one more on the deck rail, so we maximize all that space. This is going to be so much fun. Now, one more thing. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. You guys have seen my strawberry crate towers? Well, we are going to make another tower out of crates right here in the corner. Now the cool thing is, Smart Pots has these little crate liners. So this is going to be a perfect way to grow either strawberries with some lettuce. You can just cut a hole in the fabric and poke plants right in. You can grow a ton of plants in these towers. So we'll just stack them up, put the little liners in, and we are good to go. An instant garden. You guys getting excited? Well, before I fill the containers with soil, I have to put something underneath them to protect my deck. Or if you live in an apartment, you definitely don't want water dripping down on your neighbor's balcony. That would not be good. So under the long, big bag raised bed here, I'm going to put a piece of plastic down. And it's really important when you're growing your containers on your deck not to overwater them so you're not damaging your deck or, again, dripping down on your neighbor's apartment. Mac, you're going to scoot out of the way. Move over, Mac. He wants to be here in the garden with me. So I've got a piece of heavy-duty plastic to put down under my 6-foot. And there's a couple different options that you can do under the round Smart Pots. A couple really inexpensive options I found are these little plastic plant liners. And these I just found at Home Depot. So this will work really well for some of the medium-sized Smart Pots. Now I had a hard time finding something to put under the 20-gallon Smart Pots, but this is what I found. I was super excited. I got these on clearance at, I think it was at Walmart, for $1.75. These are the wreath storage containers that you use at Christmas time. So this was $1.75, and it gave me 2 little big plant saucers to put under my 20-gallon containers. And another thing I thought of you can use is like one of those big trash can, like the outdoor trash can lids. I think that would work well also. So just be creative and use the resources that you have to figure out what to do here. But look, this fits perfect under the 20-gallon. So $1.75 a piece, not bad for 2 plant saucers. So I've got a couple more I'll put over here under my purple little mini raised bed. And I think this last one should fit perfectly for the crate towers. We've got our container set up. The next step is choosing the soil. Now we're growing our garden here in a quick, simple, inexpensive way. However, there are a few areas where you'll need to make an investment. The containers is one, the soil is another. Now the type of soil you choose is so important. We want to grow a lot of veggies in this small space. If you choose a soil that's going to get compacted, the plants won't grow well, you're going to have to water it a lot, and it just won't be as effective. So I'm going to go grab my soil. I'm going to be using Good Dirt soil. Now I've grown in a lot of different soils, but this is by far my favorite type of potting mix. It's super light. I mean, you can see I can lift 2 of these bags myself. It's light and fluffy, it's aerated, it retains moisture. What I found when I grow in Good Dirt, I don't have to water near as often, and my plants just grow beautifully. Now, another reason why I love Good Dirt is because it lasts for a long time. I can plant in this soil for about 3 seasons before I need to replace it. So it saves me money, saves me time, and it grows a lot of veggies. So what I'm going to do now is pre-moisten my potting mix in this plastic storage bin. And the reason why I'm pre-moistening it is because it's super dry when it comes in the bag, and you want to moisten it so your plants have plenty of water right off the bat and get off to a really good start. So you can see how nice and light and fluffy the Good Dirt is. I absolutely love this potting mix. It has a special ingredient called bog bits, which give the soil a lot of porosity and also provide it with some good organic nutrients. So I'm going to mix it up in this plastic storage container here rather than putting it directly in my Smart Pots. That way all the water doesn't run right through, but it moistens the soil really nicely for me. Add some water and mix it up. Look how fluffy this is. It's absolutely beautiful. I just love getting my hands on this stuff. Another good option for mixing your soil might be your kitchen trash can. Just use whatever you have on hand. So now that I've added some water to my potting mix, I'm going to mix it in here so all the water absorbs into the soil. Now, one reason why it's important that soil is porous and breathable is so that your roots can breathe and take up the water and nutrients. So if you use soil that gets compacted, your plants just won't like it. So the combination of the smart pots that are breathable, the good dirt soil that is porous and breathable is a great combination that's going to grow a lot of veggies for us. I'm going to add more water until our soil is nice and moist, like a crumbly brownie mix. We'll just keep mixing it in. And here you can see the soil is nice and moist. It holds together in a little ball when I squeeze it. It's absolutely perfect. The next step is filling the containers. Now, prepping the soil is definitely the most time-consuming part of your small space garden. But once that's done, it's getting the plants in, and it's definitely a step you don't want to skip. So we're going to fill our containers, and then the exciting thing is we'll talk about the plants that we're going to grow. Oh, I can taste those veggies now, can't you? And don't worry about if things get a little bit messy. I mean, that's all part of the fun. Well, I got a bunch of soil pre-moistened here. I've got my kitchen trash can full and a couple of my outside trash cans full, and we're gonna get these containers all filled up. Well, I needed so much soil for my garden here that I filled up my outdoor trash can, pre-moistened the soil so I could dump it in quickly. Now, the 6-foot long raised bed is starting to take shape. I love the look of it. It's got a couple nice little dividers to help it stand up, but that is a good amount of growing space. And I love how it just fits up nicely against my deck rail. Man, it feels so good and it's really taking shape. Well, it's time to relax for just a few minutes while we talk about what vegetables we're gonna plant. So I'm gonna grab my red table. Remember how I talked about relaxing in this space? That's why I like to leave it open in the middle there. So we have room to sit down and enjoy the work we've just done. I started my seeds for my small space garden indoors just a couple of weeks ago. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, I'll put a pop-up link to the video from the Spring Garden series on seed starting so you know exactly what to do. Well, the next step is choosing the veggies that we're going to plant. Now, this is very important because we don't want big, huge vegetables that are going to completely overtake this small space. So I'm going to be growing some seeds for my small space garden collection. Now, these are really special vegetables because several of them are nice and compact, yet high producing, are going to grow beautifully in containers. So let me just share with you some of the vegetables we're going to be growing. First off, we have this beautiful bean plant. Now, this is not just any bean plant. It's called a dwarf Taylor bean. It's a smaller size bean, but it's still high producing, produces beautiful cream colored beans that have little red and purple flecks on them. So it's going to be perfect for our container garden. Now next, there's nothing like a homegrown cucumber. And this is called a Space Master cucumber. I mean, it's still a little seedling right now, but this is a smaller size cucumber, nice and compact, but again, still high producing. So it's going to grow us a lot of veggies in this little bit of space. And next here we have a blue Scotch curled kale. Kale is both heat tolerant and cold tolerant. It's going to be gorgeous in our vegetable garden here. We're also going to be growing some herbs. This is the Genovese basil. There's nothing like the smell of basil. It's so tasty in pestos and sauces. And this is one of my favorites. Again, still a little baby seedling. It's called a little marvel pea. It's a small pea plant, but these pack a high producing vegetable and pack a big flavor punch. So those are some of the ones that we're going to start with. We're also going to grow some different types of lettuces, and we're just going to create a beautiful garden here right behind me. Oh, and I forgot, we've got some peppers over here that we're going to grow. These are golden California wonder peppers. Now, I've talked about California wonder peppers, how beautiful they are. These ones are golden, and they're absolutely beautiful peppers. They're going to add such a pretty color splash here in our garden. And there's one more very special plant we're going to grow, but I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Now, in my small space garden collection, there are 10 varieties, and you can pick this up over on the CaliChem website, and that way we can grow the same vegetables together, and it's gonna be so much fun. So the last vegetable we're going to be growing, and one of the vegetables I'm the most excited about, is this tiny Tim tomato. This is a compact tomato. It grows to about 1 foot or 2 tall in a container. I mean, look at these tomatoes. They're absolutely adorable. So it's super high producing. It's going to be beautiful in our container garden. I absolutely cannot wait to taste these tomatoes. Also here in my small space seed collection. Now don't forget to enter the giveaway for one of these 5-gallon Smart Pots containers, a 2-pound bag of worm castings. All you have to do is leave a comment about something you learned in the video. Thank you so much, Smart Pots and Good Dirt, for partnering with us and providing the supplies for the Small Space Garden series. You can learn more about them by going to the websites on the screen. I'll also pop links in the video description for all the supplies I'm using in the series. In this video, we went from this, an empty space, to this, a small space garden with a little careful planning, the right containers, the right soil, and the right veggies. This is going to grow us a lot of vegetables, and it only gets better from here. Now what I want you to do is plan out your garden space, pick your containers, choose your soil, and get some seeds planted. Because next week, guess what we're going to be doing? We're going to be getting those seedlings that I started indoors planted in the containers. It's going to be super fun. And we're going to talk about how to water your seedlings as well. So comment below, let me know something you learned, and let me know an action you're going to take as a result of this video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.